Listen to Ward and Al weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Canada Talks, Sirius XM 167.
So what I found fascinating, thanks to the good people at Raven Banner Entertainment, we have this excellent movie, which is showing all over the world. It is one of the biggest films in Mexican history. It is the most expensive film ever made in Mexican history. Cinco de Mayo, The Battle.
And an award-winning film.
Yes. So
already won several awards.
Please welcome the director of that film, Mr. Rafa Lara.
Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for inviting me.
And a gorgeous film. A gorgeous film. Thanks for being here to talk about it with us.
It's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here in Canada to return to this beautiful country and to this beautiful city, well known worldwide because of the TIFF, the film festival, Toronto International Film Festival. And it's such an honor for us to be presenting the film now. It's very difficult for a Mexican film, you know. It's very difficult for a Mexican film to be out of our country. So only a very, very few Mexican films can do that. And we are very happy that the film was theatrically released in Mexico and the United States at the very same time last year. Exactly 1 year ago, May the 3rd was the big premiere in Mexico and the United States, and 1 year after that, now here we are ready to celebrate Cinco de Mayo now in Canada, and well, celebrating what better way to celebrate than telling the real story about Cinco de Mayo.
Well, and I mentioned this to you in the commercial break, is that I started watching the movie. And one thing I want to mention, because I think in North America, a lot of people have a phobia of subtitled films. And I was exhausted last night. And I was like, I gotta watch this movie. And subtitles came up and I was like, I'm a little nervous about that. A minute later, you don't even notice anymore that you have to, because it's you're immediately, it's very interesting, but also very beautiful, wonderful cinematography. But about 6 minutes into the movie, all of a sudden I went, I don't know anything about history. I did not know that France had anything to do with Mexico ever. So for listeners like me, tell them the significance of May 5th, 1862.
Well, exactly. The film explains perfectly why in North America, especially in the United States, people celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Well, the story, it's about an invasion. Napoleon III, which was by then, the Emperor of France, he wanted to invade Mexico, but the reality is that Mexico was not the main goal in that invasion. The main goal in that invasion was to conquer Mexico really quick. He thought, we are the French army, we're the most powerful and unbeatable army in the world, so it will be very easy. It will be very easy for us to defeat Mexicans, who were really poor and who were in the middle of a civil war as well. So basically the country was poor and divided and destroyed. So it was very easy for French to think about conquering Mexico so fast, and then traveling to the United States to make a union with the Confederate Army. By then, in the same year, we're talking about 1862, in the very same year, the American Civil War was happening at the same time. So Lincoln's army, the North, they couldn't do anything. They were just hoping a miracle. That finally happened. The story tells that French army was defeated, but by an army which they were less soldiers. They were not professional soldiers. They were just, most of them were regular Mexican peasants, very poor people, sometimes armed with poles and stones, and even with that, they defeat the French army, and because of that, France couldn't take Mexico, and France couldn't go to unite the Confederate Army, which will have changed the history of the United States forever, and maybe the history of the world, because you can imagine a world like today, without the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, without the United States as we know it, maybe France, maybe Mexico being part of France, a central part of the United States as well. United States divided into different countries, and maybe if France it was already here, it could be even taking Canada, power over Canada. Why not?
I found that so fascinating because, again, of course, I didn't know that France invaded Mexico, so I had no idea that they wanted to divide the U.S. and fight against Lincoln's army and so much of it was mind blowing for me.
Well, it was in many ways. I shouldn't say the World War II of its day, but it was a war that the outcome changed. The outcome, had it been differently, would have changed the face of the world at the time. And a lot of people don't know it. Al, you're not alone. It turns out a majority of North Americans think Cinco de Mayo involves Spain, and that involves invasion by the British. Also, a majority of North Americans think that Mexico to this day is a monarchy. So it shows not just how little
Mexico.
It's a dictatorship, so it's pretty much.
Well, yeah.
It's really close, yes.
But
similar.
But still, just showing how little is known about Mexico, Mexican history, and the history of Cinco de Mayo.
This is Canada Talks on Sirius XM, a voice from north of the border. Sirius XM 167.